Tonight, the great festive getaway. It's trains, planes and automobiles as thousands begin their journey home for Christmas.
There's no better feeling than being home because I work abroad, so anytime I come home, it's just like the same feeling of excitement to see them.
Also making the headlines, we hear from Ukrainians preparing for another festive season separated from loved ones.
In sport, we're set for a Christmas cracker here at Scotstoun as Glasgow and Edinburgh go head-to-head in the 1872 Cup.
And the carolling children bringing cheer.
I'm Vanessa Kennedy in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Thousands of people have begun the journey home for Christmas, with Scotland's airports, road network and railways all busy. With some parts of the country expecting a wet and windy weekend, we are being urged to plan ahead and be prepared.
For others, the festive season is a chance to head off to sunnier climes. More than 100,000 passengers are expected through Edinburgh Airport in the next couple of days. Well, our senior reporter Gordon Cree is there for us tonight.
Vanessa, I think first it's important to pay tribute to the staff here and across the transport network who are working in the next few days to ensure the rest of us can get around. You know, it's often said there are Scots living in every corner of the globe, and many of them have been flying in here today to spend Christmas with their families. But there are many flights leaving too. It's becoming increasingly popular for people to choose to escape the cold and dark evenings and take a Christmas holiday somewhere else in the world. And for those of us who are not going international, worth remembering too that the roads and railways are expected to be hectic this weekend. The arrivals hall just days before Christmas is a scene of great anticipation and then family reunions. Yeah, how good is it to be back for Christmas?
Oh, there's no better feeling than being home.
Yeah, how long is it since you were last here?
The summer, so it's not too long, but yeah, it feels good to be back.
And what was that moment like coming through there and seeing your
Oh,
family?
my heart's always racing, like anytime that I come home, because I work abroad, so anytime I come home, it's just like the same feeling of excitement to see them.
For others, it was time to fly out. This is the queue for Qatar, with Tenerife, New York and Toronto also proving popular destinations. This is Scotland's busiest airport, and Christmas is no exception to that. Tens of thousands of people will come through here today, tomorrow and Christmas Eve, with 6,000 expected on Christmas Day itself. At Glasgow's Queen Street station, plenty of suitcases were in evidence this morning as passengers made an early start to their festive travels.
There's lots of challenges at this time of year, particularly with the weather, but we do everything we can to keep people moving. We've got the biggest Christmas timetable we've had in years. We've got more staff out and about helping passengers. Our request is please check before you travel so that you know what's happening, and please respect our staff, particularly at this time of year.
For those travelling by ferry, there's been further disruption to services, including between Ardrossan and Arran, due to the weather. The Transport Scotland Control Centre in South Queensferry is keeping an eye on the road network and expecting traffic to be busy in the coming days.
We are asking people to plan ahead, to check your journey in advance and to make sure your vehicle is fit for any kind of weather conditions. So check things like the Get Ready Scotland website, the Traffic Scotland Winter Hub, which will give you great information about what sort of things you should keep in your vehicle and how to drive to different weather conditions so that you don't get caught out.
Once we've got through this weekend, staff here are preparing to do it all again, with thousands due to fly into Scotland for Hogmanay. Gordon Cree, STV News, Edinburgh.
Ukrainians living in Scotland have been speaking of their hopes for peace as they prepare for another festive season separated from loved ones. This year, Ukraine will celebrate Christmas according to the Western calendar for the first time, distancing itself from the Russian date of the 7th of January.
Those who have been rehomed in Glasgow and Edinburgh say while communities they've created here provide safety and support, their thoughts are never far away from those they have left behind. Here's our chief reporter, Sharon Frew.
They sing as they weave, a traditional song that reminds them of home. The camouflage nets they are making are bound for the front line in Ukraine. The strands now include white material for use in the snow. Another reminder of the changing seasons for the volunteers, separated from loved ones.
They leave a part of our soul in every net, and we are hoping that these nets can help our people to feel more protected.
Jenya, who fled the war with her 2-year-old son, says weaving has become a form of therapy.
It's a big power when you stay shoulder to shoulder with your people, and we support each other. When you come here, all your thoughts with Ukraine, with our land, and what we do is to help to survive.
Thinking ahead to Christmas, a time when they would normally celebrate as a family, is difficult for Natalia and her daughter. Natalia's brother, who is serving with Ukraine's armed forces, was recently injured. Her husband and other relatives continue to live under occupation.
Телефону, але це зовсім інше, чим знаходитись поруч. We are using technologies and we talk to my dad, her husband, but it's still not enough. It's not the same.
This work is reliant on volunteers and fabric donations that include old bed linens. The women are also looking to collect wheelchairs and other medical equipment to send in their monthly deliveries to Ukraine.
I think a lot of people from Ukraine just one wish for Christmas, have chance to back to home, to hug relatives, again have the same life. But I understand life now not will be like this because too many things broken and we have to rebuilding.
In Edinburgh, a Christmas lunch brings generations together. Over the last 18 months, they say they've managed to build a Ukrainian community here that they call their second home. This year will bring a new official date for festive traditions, switching from the 7th of January.
All people in Ukraine, we are trying to get rid of everything related to Russia. And that is why celebrating Christmas on the 25th of December, we are feeling united with the world, with Europe.
A lot of people from here, they help us, and we want to say thank you for everything what they give us.
This Ukrainian community give for us help, support. We feel here safe and really like one big family.
For some, it will be a first December Christmas in new surroundings.
So last Christmas we celebrated on a ship, and this Christmas we celebrate in our home.
I think like all Ukrainians, we think that it's soon have to be over, this hell, you know? We don't know when, but we live with the hope.
Sharon Frew, STV News.
Other stories, and a Scottish man has been arrested after 1.2 tonnes of cocaine worth £96 million was seized in an international drugs bust. The 29-year-old was skippering a yacht stopped near Martinique in the Atlantic on Monday. 2 other British crew members were also arrested and have been taken to Martinique to face criminal charges.
A 78-year-old man has been indicted in connection with the death of a woman nearly 4 decades after she was last seen alive. Marion Hodge, who was 34 years old when she disappeared from Lockerbie, was declared legally dead by the Court of Session in 1992. Her body has never been found. The indictment comes after police launched a fresh appeal last year.
A woman has died after being hit by a car on a high street in Fife. The incident happened on Wednesday night in Cowdenbeath. A 35-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are appealing for information from witnesses.
The 2 ferries being built for Calmac are facing another delay of 2 months. Ferguson Marine's chief executive has warned MSPs in a letter that the firm has been hit with supplier issues. The ferries, which are being built at the company's shipyard on the Clyde, are already 6 years late and hundreds of millions of pounds over budget. To other stories in the West, and an investigation is underway into the death of a woman in Rutherglen under suspicious circumstances. Police said her body was found at a property in Newfield Place at around 1:45 this morning. The street has been cordoned off and inquiries are ongoing. The current cost of living crisis means thousands of people will be turning to charities for help and support over Christmas. Volunteers across the country are working to provide food parcels and toys to families who are struggling, as well as Christmas lunches and companionship for people on their own. The Clutha Bar in Glasgow is one of the establishments opening its doors on Christmas Day, as Caitlin Hutchinson reports.
Preparing a pizza for the oven today, but come the 25th, it will be the traditional turkey and trimmings on the menu here at the Clutha Bar in Glasgow. The pub is normally closed on Christmas Day, but staff have volunteered to play host to 40 people in need of some extra cheer. People from all backgrounds, including refugees and those affected by the cost of living crisis, will sit down together to enjoy a festive feast.
If you imagine somebody sitting in their house alone at Christmas, or maybe they're struggling a wee bit, or it's a family struggling to come and get their dinner, and we'll try and get a wee present. It's just to help people get over that day. I mean, Christmas is brilliant, unless you're skint or you're struggling, you're on your own, you don't want that. We'll try to avoid that. If everybody done a small thing to help somebody who's less fortunate, we'd be a better place, wouldn't we?
And that's the mantra of Spirit Aid volunteers too. They've been working flat out this festive period, helping provide food parcels and toys to the families who need them most.
I've had people crying when you take stuff to the door. At times you nearly reduce to tears yourself, because it's the people that have got the least that maybe sometimes give the most. There's a wee pensioner woman came and she bought some toys in the town, and she saw the van driving away, and she was really kind of heartbroken because she thought that was the last delivery, the van was off. But when we got the stuff and we got it distributed in loads of time, and she was ever so thankful. But she helped us, but we didn't help her, she helped us. So far we probably gave out in the region of 12,000 toys. If someone phones us on Saturday or even Sunday, we'll do our best to get out and deliver what they need.
Around a quarter of all children in Scotland are in relative poverty, while about 1 in 6 pensioners are living below the breadline. Here at this Salvation Army Centre, volunteers are doing what they can to make sure no one's forgotten this Christmas. These senior bags are packed full of games and sweet treats in a bid to boost the festive mood.
It's really heartwarming, isn't it? I mean, it's just so special to see someone who has had a lovely surprise and you're there on behalf of a great organisation. Christmas is quite a sad time for people with, if they've lost loved ones or if they're isolated, if they're on their own. Hello there, my dear. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
It's really nice to hear a bit of their story as well, isn't it? About who that person is and whether they're lonely and whether they need any support. And it's really good to be able to do something for them.
It's lovely. It just means everything, because it's the true spirit of Christmas, especially when you don't expect something.
Times may be tight, but these volunteers want to make sure there's still plenty of Christmas spirit to go around. Caitlin Hutchison, STV News.
It's the annual event, which has been a staple for Glaswegians and beyond for over 100 years. Originally opened to boost morale following World War I, the Iron Brew Carnival has become one of the biggest indoor events of its kind in Europe.
Residents from local care homes were among the first visitors to set foot inside this year's carnival, which opened to the public today and runs until mid-January. Our reporter Brandon Cook went along to have a go.
They say you're never too old to have some fun. And today, residents from 2 Glasgow care homes were keen to prove that. Around a dozen were special guests to the Iron Brew Carnival's opening ceremony this afternoon, rolling back the years.
I'm 91.
91, and you've been on 3 rides already?
Yes, can't be bad.
What have the rides been like?
Very good. Slow.
Yeah, too slow.
I don't want anything too fast.
Yeah. What rides are you thinking of?
The waltzers.
You want to go on the waltzers?
Yeah. Been a long while for been on them.
The carnival has served Glaswegians and beyond for over a century. This, the 104th. Before the days of the SEC, it was held at the city's Kelvin Hall. For the past 34 years, Margaret has helped to organise it.
It's absolutely tradition, people came when they were kids. I came when I was a kid.
And then my daughter's grown up and moved on as well, but it still holds a really special place, I think, in the hearts of people in Glasgow, definitely.
Sights and smells have evolved over the years, but expect the classic frustration of seemingly simple but impossible to win games.
These are right. These are right.
Small wins, candy floss, spinning rides and stuff for the bigger kids.
The carnival is here every day until the 14th of January except Christmas, and there's something for everyone! Even if you would rather just stand at the side and have a donut.
We're having a great time. Been on 3 rides so far. We just got some foods.
Yeah.
Kate's not been anything yet.
No, too scared.
Vanessa wants to go on all the big things and he fancies the teacups.
This is just day one. Thousands are expected over the coming 3 weeks. Many of them ready to relive happy memories and make some new ones. Brandon Cook, STV News.
Brandon having great fun at the carnival. To the sport now. We're starting with rugby tonight, and Ronnie is at Scotstoun.
Yes, thank you, John. A very good evening from Scotstoun Stadium on a huge night for Scottish rugby. The resumption of the 1872 Cup as the old foes of Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh Rugby go head-to-head once again. Both these sides come into this on a good run of form. Glasgow second in the table at the moment, and a win over their old rivals could put them top for the time being. Delighted to say we are joined by Glasgow Warriors' Kyle Stein. Kyle, thank you very much for joining us. Under the lights, sold out Scotstoun. Doesn't really get any better than this, does it?
Nah, it doesn't get any better than this, Ronnie. Yeah, we've got a little bit of a blustery night here at Scotstoun, but like you say, this time of year, Christmas time of year, under the lights, Friday night, against the old foe, it's going to be a good night out there.
What do you kind of have to do correctly to get a result here this evening?
Oh, I think derbies often just come down to the physicality and who can kind of get that balance right between where your emotions are at, because you need them right in the red, but not tipping over the line. So I think that emotional balance with some physicality at home, should be a good contest.
And as you mentioned, you are famous old foes. You know a lot of the guys in the opposition dugout. You do want to get one over on them, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just, I don't know what it is about life. Anything in life when you're competing against people it always seems to add an extra dimension. So definitely, the cup's here in Glasgow at the moment and we don't want that to change.
Thank you very much for joining us, Kyle. We wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Well, Kyle and his squad will be up against an Edinburgh side also looking to do a bit of damage here in Glasgow this evening. Their head coach, Sean Everett, says they are here to play and they're here to get the bragging rights and bring the cup home before the second leg decider at Murrayfield next week.
It was always my plan that when it came to Glasgow, that we would try and be at our best. And we certainly work towards that. So the plan has come together quite nicely and timeously. But in saying that, when it comes to derby games, I think all derbies are 50-50. It doesn't matter who you put out on the field. The guys need to perform to the best of their ability to be able to get a result.
We have a huge night in store here at Scotstoun. Both sides really looking to get that first leg advantage before Murrayfield next week. We could be looking at over 20,000 in the capital next week as well, so it's all set to be a fantastic occasion next week and set to be a great occasion tonight as well. Both teams really looking to get the job done. Kick-off at 7:35 here at Scotstoun before that next leg next week in the capital. Now to football news, and Celtic boss Brendan Rodgers admits he is delighted to welcome back the Green Brigade to Celtic Park after the fan group created a new code of conduct with the club. Meanwhile, Rangers boss Philippe Clement insists they must find solutions after Kemar Roofe and John Lundstrom both were ruled out of the weekend's matches. And as the transfer window ticks closer, Hearts are ready to make moves in the window. With all the very latest, here's Jamie Borthwick.
They've been a huge part of the colour and atmosphere at Celtic Park in recent years, but in the last few weeks, due to unacceptable behaviour, the Green Brigade have been shut out. Now the fan group are back for tomorrow's match against Livingston, having agreed to a new code of conduct.
What makes Celtic tick is the support. It hasn't been the atmosphere for a number of weeks, but like I said, that's the responsibility of everyone. But we know that when the atmosphere is white hot at Celtic, it's making it a really, really difficult place
Injury victims Kamar Roof and John Lundstrom will miss Rangers' trip to Fir Park on Sunday, and both are now doubts for the New Year derby.
To say how long, it's difficult for the moment. It's quite early after this game, and you need to make a good analysis with scans and getting results and all those things. So I understand. I had also moments like that in my career. So at that moment you feel that the sky drops on your head. It is what it is. Now it's about looking for solutions.
Without a win since September, the festive period will be all about hard work for Motherwell.
We'll be in on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, game on the 27th, and that's what it is for us now. Just get the head down and concentrate on what's in front of us. There's no going to be that time to celebrate Christmas and everything that comes along with that. Very much the focus for us is this game on Sunday against Rangers.
Hearts defenders Nathaniel Atkinson and Kai Rolls have been called up for Australia's Asian Cup campaign ahead of the match against St Mirren. They'll miss at least 3 games after the winter break, accelerating Stephen Naismith's January transfer plans.
We have prepared for it. I think before even Natty being selected, we knew there's a right back position we need to improve and add to that. So that's something that's been going on. But I think we've got a good enough squad that can cope with it.
Hibs travel to Ross County, their 4th away game in a row, looking to climb the table over the festive fixtures.
You know, we've got the winter break after the Motherwell game, so in an ideal world 9 points would be unbelievable. To come away from that, and you know the league's so tight, you could be up to 3rd if so. So that's the aim, and that's what we're going to try and do.
Jamie Borthwick, STV News.
Well, let's now take a look at your festive fixture calendar for the Premiership in full for this weekend. Celtic and Livingston go head-to-head at Parkhead. Dundee take on Aberdeen. Hearts v St Mirren. It's Killie and St Johnstone in Ayrshire. Ross County, Hibs and Dingwall. And at high noon on Christmas Eve, it is Motherwell versus Rangers. Well, that is all your sport tonight from a sold-out Scotstoun Stadium. Not long to go until Glasgow and Edinburgh resume their famous old rivalry in the 1872 Cup. From everyone here, have a very good evening and a very Merry Christmas.
Now, NHS 24 is preparing for its busiest period of the year. Boxing Day and the 2nd of January can have as many as 4 times more calls than an average day for the service. And this year, the bank holidays follow weekends, which means most primary care services will be closed for 4 days in a row both weeks. To help reduce waiting times, call handlers are reminding the public of online resources and asking everyone to stock up on medication.
Anyone who's thinking about phoning the service, if they bear in mind that it is very, very busy, there's lots of sources of information out there. They can access NHS Inform, which is a good source of information. There's the NHS 24 app, and also pharmacists and things are good for self-care advice and medication and things. Obviously, if people think that their condition's more serious, they can access their own GP in hours or call the service out of hours on 111.
Now the weather with Sean, and it sounds like Santa may be overdressed for the temperatures coming.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
A very good evening to you. The main story over the next couple of days is how mild it's going to be, especially on Christmas Eve. We could be looking at temperatures heading for the teens in some spots, 13, 14 degrees, especially further east, making it probably one of the warmest Christmas Eves on record before we find some cooler air coming in from the northwest, just in time for Christmas Day. But by cooler, I just mean temperatures back down to nearer average for the time of year, 7 or 8. We'll lose the crazy values that we'll see at times through this weekend. Now, unfortunately, this weekend it's going to be lots of rain. If you're still got a few wee bits and pieces to buy, or maybe you're just starting your Christmas shopping, it is looking wet, but it will be mild, still quite blustery. Overnight tonight, cloudy, damp, temperatures should stay about 9 or 10 degrees Celsius. And tomorrow you can see it is cloudy, it's wet through much of the day. We'll get some heavier bursts of rain developing across the Highlands during the afternoon, and in late afternoon some heavier bursts then running through the likes of Dumbartonshire, Glasgow, Inverclyde, over Arran, and also mainland Ayrshire as well. The rain tends to be a wee bit more showery the further east we go. Temperatures 11 or 12 degrees, and I'd say we still hang on to that blustery wind, particularly so around Inner Hebrides, parts of Ayrshire. So again, it could still impact those ferry timetables. And also on Christmas Eve, those winds picking up once again near gale force in the northwest. Blustery showers for many of us, but the temperature's very high. As say, Christmas Eve, temperatures come down a bit. There'll be quite a bit of rain around for a time, and then chillier and drier for Boxing Day. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, with just 3 sleeps left until Santa comes to town, pupils at St Anne's Primary School have been spreading some festive cheer.
Yes, the group of 45 have been on a carolling tour across the city all through December. Well, we spoke to some of the youngsters to learn what the Christmas spirit is all about.
My favourite part is getting presents.
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 It's also about the Christmas joy. Spending time with your family. I think it's about that everyone loves each other and give presents away. All the joy of Christmas, like it's spreading around the world.
And everyone's really happy around this time of year. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because Santa's coming to town.
Sort of the happiness that goes around during Christmas and kind of just that mood that kind of comes around with winter.
Spending time with their family, enjoying themselves and kind of like taking their worries away just by celebrating with everyone.
We'll have bulletins throughout the holidays, but from all of us here on STV News at 6, have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.